Do you want to know who the richest women are of all time? In this video today, we're going to take a look at the 5 richest women of all time and what they have done in their lifetime. So make sure that you watch this until the end. But before we begin, please take a second to support us and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to not miss any new updates from us. The first one that's on our list is Francoise Bettencourt Meyers. Born on the 10th of July 1953, Francoise Bettencourt Meyers is a French businesswoman, writer, pianist, philanthropist, and heir to billions. The richest woman in the world, and she has a net worth of $75.3 billion as of March 2022. Being the only child, the heiress of Liliane Bettencourt, she is the granddaughter of L'Oreal founder Eugene Schueller. Mrs. Meyers' mother died in September of 2017, after which her fortune tripled with her investment through her family's holdings company known as Tethys Invest, and the high valuation of L'Oreal shares on the stock exchange. Francoise Bettencourt Meyers and her family owns 33% of L'Oreal stock, which has seen a phenomenal growth over the decades, and she has been on the board of the company since 1997, and today she's the chairperson of the makeup firm. She currently holds the 13th position among the richest persons in the world. She was raised to be a strict Catholic, and she has written several Bible commentaries. Married to Jean-Pierre Meyers, who is the grandson of a rabbi who was murdered at Auschwitz, and they raised their children, Jean-Vic Leonard Nicholas, as Jewish. Being devoted Catholic, Bettencourt, Meyers and L'Oreal pledged $226 million to repair the Notre Dame de Paris after it was severely damaged by fire. The second one on the list is Alice Walton. Born on the 7th of October 1949, Alice Walton is an American heiress to the massive fortune of Walmart, as she's the only daughter of Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart. She has an estimated net worth of about $70.8 billion, taking the spot as the second richest woman in the entire world and the 20th richest person in the world according to Bloomberg Billionaires Index. She has a thing for art, and so she's more focused on curating art, and she holds an art collection that could easily be valued at more than $100 million. She started her career as an equity analyst and a money manager for First Commerce Corporation and was the head of investment activities at Harvest Bank Group. She also worked as a broker for E.F. Hutton, and later in 1988, she founded her investment bank known as the Llama Company, where she was the president, chairwoman, and CEO. Walton was the first person to chair the Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport Council, and she played a major role in the development of the Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport, which was inaugurated in 1998. Walton provided $15 million in initial funding, and her company, Llama Company, underwrote a $79.5 million bond. This led to the authorities at the Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport to realize Walton's contribution to the creation of the airport and name the terminal Alice L. Walton Terminal Building. Sam Walton is proud of the queen she raised, and in a 1992 biography, he remarked Alice was the most like me, a maverick, but even more volatile than I am. Being the second richest woman is okay, but having an airport building named after her and her father, being proud, is an achievement on its own. The third lady on this list is Julia Koch, and family born on 12th of April 1962, Julia Margaret Flesher Koch came from a farming background. The farming family also owned a furniture store called Flesher's. She grew up in Indianola, Iowa, but when she was 8 years old, her family moved to Arkansas, and that was where her parents started the clothing store called Peggy Fredericks. After graduating from the University of Central Arkansas and working as a model, she moved to New York City in 1984, where she worked as a fashion designer assistant for Adolfo, assisting and getting fittings done for Nancy Reagan. She met David Koch on a blind date in the early months of 1991. The first impression wasn't good, but they met again at a party and started dating later that year. She stopped working 2 years later in 1993, and 3 years later they got married in May 1996 at David Koch's house in Meadow Lane in Southampton. They are known for philanthropy, and they've made multiple donations to institutions such as Lincoln Center, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History. David Koch died in August of 2019 when he was 79 years old, and he left 42% of Koch Industries to his family Julia Koch, David Jr., Mary Julia, and John Mark. Formerly on the board of directors of the School of American Ballet, Koch serves as the president of the David H. Koch Foundation. She is today the third richest lady in the world, and she was included in the Forbes list of the 10 richest women in the world. The fourth richest lady is Mackenzie Scott. Born on the 7th of April 1970, Mackenzie Scott is an American novelist and philanthropist. She is famous for her involvement in Amazon and her philanthropic efforts. She has a net worth of about $46.6 billion. She was married to Jeff Bezos for more than 2 decades, and they divorced somewhere in mid-2019. They met at the hedge fund when she was working as an assistant at T.E. Shaw in 1992. She owns a 4% stake in Amazon, a company her ex-husband founded. Mackenzie Scott was named as one of the most powerful women by Forbes back in 2021 and one of Time's most influential people in 2020. She has 3 sons and daughters with Bezos. Their daughter is adopted from China. Scott won the American Book Award for the 2005 debut novel The Testing of Luther Albright. She has been the executive director of Bystander Revolution, which is an anti-bullying organization she founded in 2014. She's now married to a high school chemistry teacher, Dan Jewett. In July of 2020, she donated over $1.7 billion to 116 non-profit organizations with a focus on racial equality, LGBTQ+ equality, democracy, and climate change. Her gift to HBCUs, Hispanic-serving institutions, tribal college and universities, and other colleges surpass over $80 million. In December 2020, less than about 6 months later, Scott stated that she had donated a further $4.15 billion in the previous 4 months to 384 organizations to help the people in need because of the economic impact COVID-19 had on addressing long-term systemic inequities. After July, she wanted her advisory team to give her wealth away faster as the United States struggled because of the pandemic, while her wealth continued to climb. In a recent Forbes report, they stated, "The unrestricted and ultimately more trusting nature of Scott's philanthropy is the exception, not the norm in the world." The New York Times noted that Miss Scott has turned traditional philanthropy on its head by dispersing her money quickly and without much hoopla. Miss Scott has pushed the focus away from the giver and onto the non-profit she's trying to help. Scott has said she believes teams with experience on the front lines of challenges will know best how to put the money to good use, but giving away too much money can be a source of controversy, and so Scott wrote in a Medium post that she will not reveal how much money she has given away or to whom. Since then, she announced that her team will build a website to share details of her giving. And lastly, the 5th richest lady on this list is Jacqueline Mars. I guess by the name you already know what this is about. Born on the 10th of October 1939, Jacqueline Mars is an American heiress and an investor. Daughter of Audrey Ruth and Forrest Mars, SRM, she's the granddaughter of Frank C. Mars, the founder of the American candy company Mars Incorporated. Ranked the 48th richest person in the world, according to Bloomberg Billionaires Index back in April 2021, she has a net worth of about $43.4 billion. Jacqueline Mars is akin to Mars Incorporated shares, and as a member of the Mars family, she's the 18th richest American. She joined the company as Food Product Group president back in 1982 until her retirement back in 2001. She worked for the company for nearly about 2 decades and served on the board until 2016. She is a trustee of the U.S. Equestrian Team, and she also owns a working organic farm that is protected by the Land Trust of Virginia. She's a part of the board of directors for the Washington National Opera, the National Sporting Library, and the Fine Arts Museum. Mars also sits on the National Advisory Committee of the Journey Through Hallowed Ground, a foundation that promotes American heritage from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to Thomas Jefferson's Monticello. So that's it, guys. Those were the 5 richest women in the world. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.